engineer from Mumbai, India. I'm associated with an organization, Center for Study of Society and Secularism, which was set up in midst of religion-based conflicts in India when there were communal violence in 1993. Of course, we have been working on communal violence even before, but this organization was set up in 1993. So we are working for peace, harmony, and human rights.
My name is Sharon Mayaram, and I work in Delhi with the Center for the Study of Developing Societies. Work on different kinds of things, and in the early part of my career, I started looking at peasant and pastoral communities, and I began working on a community called the Mewatis, which have the longest history of resistance to the state anywhere in the world. For something like 8 centuries, they fought the state. So I tried to devise a methodology whereby I would make an attempt through their oral tradition to understand their categories and the ways in which they looked at state and sovereignty. The second thing I learned from this particular community was that they had a completely different approach to identity. In the ways in which they lived their lives, they had something of what could be called a bi-religious or a multi-religious identity. So they could be Hindu, you could describe them as Hindu and Muslim. So it was not what they taught me was to challenge this binary way of looking at religion and the whole idea of singular identities, which is the way in which most of us frame identitarian discourse. Now this community, which had lived as Hindu and Muslim, and combined, sort of displayed this wonderful possibility of living together, was actually the targets of a genocide at the time of partition. So a huge section of them went over to Pakistan. Now currently there's another form of violence which is taking shape, which is that even though in these many centuries what continued was their identity, their identification with a certain territory, their territoriality. But now what's happening with this development of the Delhi-Bombay corridor, what is called the megalopolis actually, is the ways in which peasant communities have defined themselves and, in terms of, say, Mewat, or the Gujars define themselves in terms of Gujarwati, or another community define themselves as Ahirwati. Now these ways of organizing space themselves are coming to an end because of the ways in which land use is changing. So I'm interested in this kind of question and what urbanization is really doing. Apart from this, I've been looking at the question of violence and the other side of violence, which is also the possibility of living together and the ways in which people devise ways of living together. In my works, I've done some work on Asian cities, and I'm interested in philosophy, both in Hindu philosophy as also in Islamic philosophy. And my most recent project is going to be on Sufis and Salafis, looking at this in South Asia and the Middle East.